Hello students, today the topic of our discussion is organization of data. Organization of data involves the arrangement of the figures or data in such a form that comparison is possible, it is easily compared and further analysis also possible. So, organization of data involves arrangement of data in a way that further comparison is easily made. To organize the data, classification of data is very important. Classification of data refers to grouping of data according to their characteristics or features. When we arrange the data according to their features, that is called the classification of data. There are different objectives of classification. It makes the data simple. It makes the data understandable. Comparison can be made. To make analysis and interpretation easy, it is important to classify the data first. And it also aims to arrange and put the data according to their common characteristics. Further, we can see that there are different types of classification like geographical classification, chronological classification, qualitative classification, quantitative classification, and alphabetical classification. Let's discuss them one by one. When data is classified according to any geographical location or region, किसी भी region या फिर geographical location के हिसाब से उसके accordingly जब हम data को classify करते हैं, चाहे वो कोई zone हो, area हो, state हो, city हो, उसे हम geographical classification कहते हैं. For example, the production for food grains in India may be presented state-wise in the following manner. See, this is the state-wise estimates of production of food grains. It is just an example. So we can say here the data is presented state-wise. So we have divided the data on the geographical basis because we have arranged the data state-wise. When the data is divided on the basis of time of occurrence, it is called chronological classification. National income figures, annual output of wheat, monthly expenditure of household, daily consumption of milk, etc. are some examples of the chronological classification. Look, here we have the example of chronological classification. Here the population is divided, it is represented ईयर वाइज 1941 में कितनी पॉपुलेशन थी, 1951 में कितनी थी, likewise 61, 71 and 81. So this is a good example for the chronological classification. जब हम classification को alphabetically किसी ऑर्डर में अरेंज करते हैं, अल्फ़ाबेटिकली उसे एक ऑर्डर में अरेंज करते हैं, दैट क्लासिफिकेशन इज़ नोन एज अल्फ़ाबेटिकल क्लासिफिकेशन. फॉर एग्जांपल स्टेट वाइज अगर हमें डेंसिटी बतानी है पॉपुलेशन ऑफ इंडिया की, सो हम उसे में भी अल्फ़ाबेटिक ऑर्डर में डिपिक्ट कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल ए से हमारी जो स्टेट्स हैं वो पहले आएंगी, उसके बाद बी, उसके बाद सी एंड लाइक वाइज जेड हमारा एंड में होगा. सो हम उसे जब अल्फ़ाबेटिक ऑर्डर में अरेंज करेंगे, दैट इज़ कॉल्ड द अल्फ़ाबेटिकल क्लासिफिकेशन. हियर वी हैव द एग्जांपल ऑफ द सेम. द स्टेट्स हियर आर डिवाइडेड अल्फ़ाबेटिकली in this example, and we can see the density of population here of different states which are arranged in alphabetic order. When the data is classified on the basis of any attribute, or we can say on the basis of any quality, we can say that data is classified in a qualitative way. We may divide the population into males or females on the basis of their sex, on the basis of their maybe they are literate or illiterate. So further classification can be made on the basis of, say, employment or unemployment. So this represents an attribute. So that is what we include in the qualitative classification. जब हम क्वांटिटी में और जिस कैरेक्टरिस्टिक को हम मेजर कर सके उसके बेसिस पर जब क्लासिफिकेशन को डेटा को क्लासिफाई करते हैं, दैट क्लासिफिकेशन इज कॉल्ड द क्वांटिटेटिव क्लासिफिकेशन. फॉर एग्जांपल, किसी की हाइट है, हाइट ऑफ द पीपल, वेट ऑफ द पीपल, इनकम, सेल्स, प्रॉफिट, प्रोडक्शन. फॉर एग्जांपल, द student of college may be classified into weight as follows. Look here. The students are divided here on the basis of their weight. जिनका 40 से 50 weight है, there are 60 students for 50 to 60 weight के हमारे पास 50 students हैं, and so on and so forth. So here we have the characteristics of a good classification: comprehensiveness, clarity, homogeneity, suitability, stability, and elasticity are the characteristics of a good classification. Now we have the concept of variable. Variable is anything which is capable of being measured and changes can be made to it over the time. That is called a variable. So हमारे पास discrete variable भी हैं, continuous variable भी है. Discrete variables are those variables that increases in jumps. यहाँ पर कोई भी फ्रैक्शन पॉसिबल नहीं हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल 1, 2, 10, 15, कोई भी एग्जैक्ट नंबर हो, कोई फ्रैक्शन ना इन्वॉल्व हो, उसे हम डिस्क्रीट वेरिएबल कहते हैं. और जहाँ पर हम फ्रैक्शंस में या कंटिन्यूटी में वेरिएबल को शो कर सके, फ्रैक्शंस में शो कर सके, दैट इज़ कॉल्ड द कंटिन्यूस वेरिएबल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हाइट ऑफ द बॉयज़ 5 feet 1 inch, 5 feet 3 inch, and so on. Marks of in any range, for example 0 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, any range, any fraction is also included here. So that is called a continuous variable. Statistical arrangement has to be made systematically. We have raw data. Raw data, when the data is collected, it is collected in a crude form. The way they are collected, the data is collected, it is called the raw data. उसके बाद हम raw data को different classes में according to an order or sequence हम उनको arrange करते हैं. That arrangement is called series. So when we collect the data, that data is a raw data. और जब हम उसे different classes में अकॉर्डिंग टू अ सीक्वेंस और एक ऑर्डर के अकॉर्डिंगली जब हम उसे अरेंज करते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड सीरीज. इज इट क्लियर? नाउ अ क्वेश्चन अराइजेज, इस रॉ डेटा को हम सीरीज में कैसे कन्वर्ट करेंगे? हमारे पास डिफरेंट वेज है ऑफ कन्वर्जन. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, वी कैन कन्वर्ट इट इन द इंडिविजुअल सीरीज विदाउट एनी फ्रीक्वेंसी. एंड देन वी हैव फ्रीक्वेंसी सीरीज़, जहाँ पर हम सीरीज़ को विद फ्रीक्वेंसीज अरेंज करते हैं. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, वी हैव इंडिविजुअल सीरीज़. दैट इन इंडिविजुअल सीरीज़ द अरेंजमेंट इज डन individually without any frequency. No frequency is given here to the data. For example, here we have the serial numbers. There are roll numbers and their marks. The roll number of students are there and their marks are given accordingly. इसे हम ascending या फिर descending order में भी show कर सकते हैं. Then we have frequency series. Frequency series यहाँ पर 2 types की है. For example, we have discrete series, या जिसे हम frequency array भी कहते हैं. Tally bars are included here. There are no class intervals. यहाँ पर class intervals नहीं रहते. So that is called the discrete series. And then we have frequency distribution, and they have class intervals. So when the class intervals are there, they are called frequency distribution, and where there is no class interval, that series is called the discrete series. Here we have an example of exclusive series. In this series, we exclude the upper limit of these classes. Means we have this class 0 to 10. The upper limit here is 10 and we exclude the upper limit. So actually we take into account 0 to 9 and 10th unit which is written here, but it is excluded. That's why it is called the exclusive series. Why? Because देखिए अगर हम देखें यहाँ पर 10 दोबारा से repeat हो रहा है in the next series, तो उसे हम next जो हमारा frequency distribution है वहाँ पर उसे include करेंगे. जो higher और अपर लिमिट है उसे हम एक्सक्लूड कर देंगे हर एक केस में. दैट्स वाई दिस सीरीज इज कॉल्ड एक्सक्लूसिव सीरीज. ऑन द अदर हैंड, इंक्लूसिव सीरीज इंक्लूड ऑल द क्लास लिमिट्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हेयर वी हैव 0 to 9. सो 0 to 9 सभी लिमिट्स को हम इंक्लूड करेंगे. 10 to 19 and 20 to 29. Here we can see nothing is repeated. Therefore, we include all the limits. That's why it is called inclusive series, because we are including every class interval here. When the first and last class are not given, that is called open-ended series. See here, it is not given. That's why it is called open-ended C classes. Here the lower limit of the first class and the upper limit of the last class is not given. We have some less than cumulative frequency distribution and more than cumulative frequency distribution also. Here are some examples of less than and more than frequencies. Here the frequency of each class interval is added, and here it is arranged starting from the highest to the lowest. This is all for today. I hope this was helpful to all of you. Thank you very much.